2 wheels, a little time to cut loose, and some buddies who had your back no matter what. Remember those adventures? Maybe it's time to make some new ones. Or just give them puberty blockers and let them remain children forever. Harley Davidson puberty blockers. Because sometimes they just grow up too fast.
It seems like every single day things are getting worse for Harley Davidson, and it is absolutely reminiscent of the Bud Light debacle. All Bud Light had to do was say, oopsie doopsie, sorry, we didn't think that insulting women everywhere was a good idea for the campaign. We're going to go ahead and stop that. And we're going to go ahead and check on any, donations we make to make sure they're not, creepy organizations doing creepy things. Moving forward, we're going to stick to making our beer. But they didn't do that. And a year later, they have lost their throne as the #1 beer in America. In fact, they're not #1 and they're not even #2 anymore. They're now sunk to #3. Bud Light didn't learn its lesson and it went down with the ship for wokeness. And Harley Davidson appears to be doing the exact same thing, even in the wake of its competition, Indian Motorcycles, doing preemptive strikes. Indian Motorcycles preemptively removed any woke languaging from their website. Now, I will say we need to make sure it's not a part of the company as a whole, but the entire industry is taking notice of how badly Harley is responding to this. And now a brand new video is out that you're going to want to see. And we're going to get into that right after a super quick word from this video sponsor, Sheath. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Sheath. Sheath makes the most comfortable boxer briefs I've ever worn. If you're sick of boxers that are too loose or briefs that are too tight, Sheath is for you. It's the best. You have to get a pair. Get one pair and it's going to change your life. Look, fellas and ladies, I know the idea of changing your brand for this kind of product is not something you think about often, but I promise it's worth the thought. Get one pair and it's going to change your life. The most comfortable boxer briefs you will ever put on your body. Their stretchy fabric is made out of a moisture wicking technology. They're super soft. They keep everything cool and comfortable right in place. It was a long time before I decided to try and make the change, and I absolutely love the product offering that Sheath has. Sheath is also the official underwear partner of the UFC, which is pretty cool too. Sheath is particularly useful for staying cool during the summer and while working out. The most unique thing about Sheath is that they have these dual pouches that keep your man parts separated, which prevents things from sticking together, keeps them right where they need to be. I was a little skeptical about the dual pouch, but let me tell you, it is in fact a game changer. And by the way, if you're not into that idea, you don't have to use them. Some days I do, some days I don't. They'll be the most comfortable pair of boxer briefs you've ever worn in your life. Plus they have brand new materials like bamboo and mesh for even more cooling. Go to sheath.com to get the most comfortable underwear you've ever worn and use promo code TheQuartering, that's one word, and you'll get 20% off your order. That's sheath.com, promo code TheQuartering for 20% off your order. This article, Robbie Starbuck again on Twitter doing absolutely amazing work. If you're not following him now, definitely make sure you do. Every Harley Davidson. By the way, hey, Sheath, they've been a long-time sponsor. I know it might be kind of weird to think about making that change. Most guys like me buy their boxers in the 3-pack and they buy them once a year or whatever. But I'm telling you, give them a try. I think you really like their product. Every Harley Davidson rider is going to want to see this. It sure sounds like CEO John Zeitz admits that he took the Harley job because it was an opportunity to transform the American icon into embracing wokeness and DEI. So he never cared about Harley. He never cared about Harley's tradition. He only ever cared about pushing his politics on the customer. Read the quotes below carefully. He said at the Synergist David Rockefeller leadership event that Synergos says the work to, quote, dismantle systems that create the most urgent problems of our time, social injustice and climate change. Look, I'm all for the environment. I'm an old school tree hugger. I don't like when I see people littering. I don't like seeing people throw garbage out their window. I think we should do a lot of things to protect our environment. It's the only one we've got. Now, I don't buy into the whole corporate side of it. Just pick up your trash and try to not pollute, okay? The fact that they think the #1 problem in America is social justice and climate change. Do you think that guy's making the right decisions for motorcycles? Doesn't that just scream Harley Davidson? He writes, quote, as diverse as we could possibly be as a brand and business and celebrate diversity and inclusion, that's one of the reasons why I took the job, and I believe as an incredible American icon and the transformation and the opportunity to contribute positively to a very divisive society. He took the job to take control of Harley Davidson narrative. He took the job to brainwash Harley drivers. That's why he took it. Harley riders, sorry. He goes on to say that, quote, politics and politicians can only do so much, but business can be a significant force for good, and not just because it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing for the business itself. Being inclusive, I think, is a critical component. Now, as far as I know, at any Harley dealership, there's never been a sign that said whites only. I happen to live in Wisconsin. There's just about every, type of person you can imagine rides a Harley out here. Now, maybe it's different in other states, but I was unaware that Harley had any kind of diversity problem, right? Harley had a problem, and Harley has a problem, and his name is Jochen Zeitz, their German CEO. No one can credibly argue that this guy isn't a far-left activist. In my view, it's clear that he's telling us he took the job to transform Harley into a woke company. Customers and workers and dealers reaching out to me are angry. Harley's board has a very limited window to act before permanent damage is done to the brand. Straddling the fence isn't going to work as more videos come out of their CEO's own words.
There's no more to do some commercials for us, and the slogan was United We Ride. And we launched it just as we started to manufacture again, and that was sort of our comeback as a company into the world, opening our factories again and bringing everybody as diverse as we could possibly be as a business and a brand, and celebrate diversity and inclusion.
Celebrate diversity and inclusion. That's globalist gobbledygook, communist gobbledygook, all right? Nobody has been banned from riding Harleys. Nobody anywhere. Nobody was saying Harley needed to be more inclusive. This is a fake narrative pushed by some weirdo globalist who wants to push a particular narrative inside the company. That's what this is. This has nothing to do with Harley lacking in diversity. You can see, look at the reply. Just looking at the Harley Davidson board members, I honestly doubt any of them actually own or ride a Harley. I don't know. I don't want to say I disagree or agree with that, because Harley riders oftentimes can surprise you. I would guess that these dorks probably don't. But again, people can contact Harley with a single click and let them know what they want to see. Plus, Robbie is also sharing more information coming out later today that, of course, I will cover. You can see this. You can go to citizencaller.com and look for this campaign, Harley Goes Woke. You can actually contact. This kind of stuff matters. Actually picking up the phone and calling Harley politely. I don't think cussing them out will do anything. But I've done these type of things before. I got a games company to make a major change by, Hasbro way back in the day, where they wouldn't background check their employees, and it turned out they had more than a dozen creepazoids that were on the list working for them. You can make change when you pick up the phone and call them. Also, things continue to spiral. As you look at this, this is happening all over the country. What an embarrassment for Harley Davidson. The woke CEO isn't very popular with their own crowd. You can see here.
Okay, today I'm covering up all my Harley emblems until I can get them off, because I'm going for a ride today. But take them all off, covering them all up. Anywhere there's a Harley emblem on the bike, I'm going to cover up for now.
By the way,
I can,
by the way, I want to say this, okay? What this guy did took him 20 minutes, maybe. Okay, it cost him a few bucks to find some somewhat close matching paint. I don't know, again, what the process is to take emblems off. I can't imagine you can take it off without damaging the paint very easily. I guess I don't know. But what I can say is this stuff, this kind of grassroots change, It works, and it works bigly, because the second you park that bike next to the other 20 Harleys and they see that you had the courage, that you covered it up, they're either going to ask you why, or they're already going to know and they're going to go home and do it. It's just like with Trump voters and MAGA hats. There was a real narrative, and like, again, I don't care who people vote for. I don't. And I just hope that here, at least, you know, here in America, you stay somewhat informed and you vote for, you know, and you participate in, you know, your right to vote. But it's like, you used to see people wearing Make America Great Again hats, and then people were stealing them, or they were getting into fights and all this stuff. After that stuff went away, you saw more and more. I see people wearing them all the time now. That's an example of kind of social proof. This guy doing this, people will want to gaslight and pretend like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a massive deal, because this is going to inspire other bikers to make this exact same change. And then everywhere they go, they're going to have that. This, on top of Harley Davidson facing another fresh controversy that could destroy the motorcycle company after being blasted from being woke. Of course, we talked about this and their CEO, this, that, and that. But how about this? Harley Davidson upsetting union workers with production move to Thailand. Oh, we already talked about that. How about this? Harley Davidson dealers accuse bike maker of hogging profits. Excess inventory and showroom upgrade requirements risk destroying dealerships. So now they're forcing dealerships to do massive upgrades when they're not even selling enough bikes. And how about this? Harley Davidson dealers say the company, this is all press from this week. This is all press from this week. I mean, it's right down to the street where people are debadging their bikes. It's right down to, you know, the articles, the people getting involved. Motorbike says some Harley Division Inc. says have complained that the motorcycle maker is sending them too many bikes when sales have already slowed, creating more expenses for them. I mean, they're offloading these bikes on dealerships rather than storing themselves because they can't sell them. You know, I would argue that a company like Indian, for example, is probably benefiting a lot more. Again, I don't think anybody, unless you're super rich, unless you're like Sean Strickland, very few people are just like throwing away their $20,000 motorcycle and buying a new one because of this. People can't afford that. But debadging it is extremely powerful. Telling your other friends to debadge it, or covering up the badge, or writing a letter, or sending a phone call. All this kind of stuff, it matters. It's going to matter. Now, I've been kind of watching the stock, and it hasn't really been affected yet. Today it's down a little bit, but over 5 days, it's up a little bit. So it's relatively unchanged. What's going to happen is when all the people with Harleys now choose a different bike maker, Harley is going to try and hold out as long as they can to not make a point about this. That's why they haven't tweeted in a week. On August 12th, they finally said a tweet, and they blocked everyone from replying. But if you go to the quote tweets, what do you think they're going to say? If you're so great and united, why do you have your comment section turned off? Woke junk. You say absolutely pathetic. I'm done. Any organization that turns off comments deserves to be Bud Lighted. I mean, I agree. Dumb company. Not all Zoomers have a loser mindset like your CEO. Harley are disabling replies. This is not going well. This is they're doing the same playbook as Bud Light, and they're going to have the same outcome because people are sick and tired of this, and they have a lot less money to be screwing around with woke companies that hate them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out Sheath. And by the way, have you downloaded the Veebs app? That's something I've talked about before. Check out Veebs. It's an app that lets you figure out if companies are woke or not. And if you download that and you use promo code 4444, you get a free trial. It's only $1 a month anyway. But if you have an Apple or an iPhone, get Veebs. It's absolutely awesome. It lets you just scan stuff. They also added hotels and other big expenses on here too. So grab Veebs. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.